The fourth match day in the Champions League is finally here, and you know what that means. Match day 4 predictions. Honestly, don't talk to me about last week's result. I don't want to hear anything about that. But this week, we got some crazy matches. In my opinion, probably the craziest matches we've seen so far in this league phase. If you guys haven't seen some of my recent videos, I did recently upload my top 10 best strikers so far this season, and I also recently reacted to the best celebrations in football history. But without further ado, let's get right into these predictions. Starting off with the first match, we have Slavia Prague against Arsenal. Arsenal look incredible this season. At the current time of recording this video, they're first in the Premier League by a good margin, and in the Champions League, they've won 3 out of 3 games and they still have not conceded a single goal. Defensively, they look incredible, arguably the best defensive lineup in the world, and how they perform off set pieces is crazy. There's no way you mean to tell me that almost every single set piece they get, they score from. I don't know how that's possible. Their set piece coach better be getting paid like crazy, because if they can't score normal goals, at least they have that as a backup. I got Arsenal winning this game 2-0. Moving on to the next game, we have Napoli against Frankfurt. Bro, I swear, if Napoli do not win this game, I'm gonna freak the fuck out. I swear, they better win this game. I'm betting all my money on Napoli winning this game by multiple goals as well. Bro, Frankfurt literally have the second worst goal difference in the Bundesliga. They've conceded 18 goals in their first 8 matches, and in the last match day in the Champions League, they lost 5-1 against Liverpool. With the home advantage, with how Frankfurt have been conceding, with considering the last time they versed where Napoli beat them 5-0 across both legs, I'm going to predict Napoli to win this game 4-0. The next game we got is Atletico Madrid against Union Saint-Gilloise. Atletico Madrid have had a very inconsistent season, where at the start of the season, they were performing very poorly and they were getting a lot of draws. Now recently, they have been performing better, but away from home, their form is still very poor. But with that being said, when they're playing at home, they look like a completely different team. With the fans supporting them, Atletico Madrid are definitely a top 5 team in the world. Union Saint-Gilloise did good in their first match where they actually got a win, but since then, we've seen them concede 4 goals against Newcastle and another 4 goals against Inter Milan. It only seems right that Atletico Madrid will win 4-0. The next game we got is Bodo Glimt against Monaco. I love Bodo Glimt. I don't know what it is about them, but every team they face up against, I always want them to win. Now, so far in this Champions League, they still haven't gotten a win, but they have gotten a couple of draws, and they look like they are in pretty decent form. But we all know when Bodo Glimt play at home, they're impossible to beat, man. You cannot beat Bodo Glimt at home. I don't know what it is about that turf field that they play on. I don't know what kind of voodoo magic shit they're doing, but there's no way Monaco are going to win this game. And even though Monaco have been getting decent results so far in recent matches, I'm going to predict Bodo Glimt to win this game 2-1. Moving on to the next game, we have Juventus against Sporting. Wow, Juve have been shocking this season. At the time of recording this video, they have not gotten a single win in their last 8 matches. They're on horrible form. They lost their last 3 matches in a row, and they just fired their manager, Igor Tudor. And to be honest, I don't see Juve getting better in the near future, because since they fired their manager, I think it's going to take a little bit of time for the new manager to adjust. And against Sporting, I think it's going to end in a draw. Not saying that Sporting have been the best this season, but they have been scoring a lot of goals in recent matches. And Juve, defensively, they don't look very strong. They've been conceding a lot of goals, and for that reason, even though they have the home advantage, I'm going to predict a 2-2 draw. Moving on to the next game, we have Liverpool against Real Madrid. This is a repeat of the 2023 Champions League final, where Real Madrid did end up beating Liverpool 1-0. And at the current moment, the only problem is there is one team that is in incredible form and another team that has lost 4 Premier League matches in a row. Looking at Real Madrid so far this season, I wouldn't say that they've been fantastic, but they have been on great form. And even though they may not be scoring as much as they would like to, they're still getting results, and Mbappe has still scored in his last 10 games in a row. Obviously, Liverpool do have the home advantage, as this is being played in Anfield, and at the current time of recording this video, this is before their weekend fixture against Aston Villa. So I do think that how they perform in that game does determine how they will perform against Real Madrid. But in saying that, they do have a lot of injuries at the moment in the attack, the midfield, the defense. They have injuries all over the place, and with their injuries, as well as the fact that they're trying to incorporate all these new players that they signed this summer, it just hasn't been working for Liverpool in recent matches. I think this is going to be a very, very close game, a high scoring game in my opinion, as both teams have been conceding a little bit of goals recently, but I am going to predict Real Madrid to win this game 3-2. The next game we got is Olympiacos against PSV. Bro, I hope Olympiacos can beat PSV. Honestly, I hate PSV for what they did to Napoli. For real, I don't actually hate PSV, but I wouldn't mind it if Olympiacos wins. Hey, come on, you beat us 6-2. But in saying that, Olympiacos have been shit this Champions League. They sit near the bottom, still haven't gotten a single win in 3 matches. While at PSV, it looks like they completely turned around their campaign. At the start of the Champions League, they looked horrible in the first 2 match days, but recently they beat Napoli by 4 goals. In the Eredivisie, they beat league leaders Feyenoord 3-2, which was a very, very impressive game away from home. And now they are playing away from home again, and I do think they will be able to beat Olympiacos. I'm going to predict a 2-1 win for PSV. The next game we got is PSG against Bayern Munich. Bro, why the hell do we see this matchup in every single Champions League? We saw it last year, we saw it the year before, we saw it in 2021, 2020, 2019. We see this matchup every single year. But in my opinion, this is an incredible matchup because both of these teams, I think, are the 2 best teams in the world. Bayern Munich and PSG, I think, are the best teams in the world at the moment. In terms of their recent performances, how they're playing, their squad and their squad depth, even their managers, I think both of these teams are arguably the best teams in the world. And I think this is going to be a very, very close matchup. I could see it going either way. One thing I will say is that there's definitely going to be a lot of goals in this match because both of these teams in their last 5 matches have scored over 15 goals. They're averaging over 3 goals in each of their last 5 matches. So there's definitely going to be a lot of goals in this game. For that reason, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. And the last game on Tuesday is Tottenham against Copenhagen. Man, Tottenham have looked very inconsistent recently. They're suffering with so many injuries, and on top of that, we've seen them draw against Monaco. They drew against Bodo Glimt. It's crazy to think about that, even though in the Premier League they are near the top of the table. But so far this season, I don't feel like Thomas Frank has been doing that good of a job. I will say he started off the season very well, but in recent matches, I just don't think they've been executing as good as they should be. So even though Tottenham have the home advantage, I wouldn't say they're definitely going to win this game. I do think this is going to be very, very close, and I think Copenhagen can definitely get a result, but I am going to predict Tottenham to win this game 1-0. Moving on to the Wednesday fixtures, the first game we got is Paphos against Villarreal. Villarreal started off the season very, very well in the La Liga, but in recent matches, they haven't been good. And in the Champions League, they still haven't gotten a win as they've gotten 1 draw and 2 losses. And it's crazy to think about the fact that Paphos are actually ahead of Villarreal in the Champions League table. They sit in 29th place while Villarreal sit in 31st. But come on. Paphos aren't going to win this game. There's no way, even though they have the home advantage. I got Villarreal winning this game 3-1. The next game we got is Karabag FK against Chelsea. This is my big upset in the 4th match week where I think Karabag are going to upset Chelsea in this matchup. I think Karabag have been fantastic so far in this league phase. Currently, they're sitting in 13th place while Chelsea sit in 11th place, and they've both gotten 2 wins and 1 loss. But I've been saying since the start that Karabag are one of those teams that can upset some of the biggest teams in this Champions League, and I think this is going to be one of those games. I'm going to predict that Karabag are going to beat Chelsea 2-1. Moving on to the next match, we have Ajax against Galatasaray. Ajax have been shit so far in this Champions League, and they sit in last place. They have been horrible, and even in the Eredivisie, they don't look as good as they normally look. They've been drawing so many games. I don't know what's going on. Galatasaray recently have been performing much better. Osimhen is scoring loads of goals, and I'm really happy for him. And in this game, even though Ajax do have the home advantage, I'm going to predict a 2-1 win for Galatasaray. The next game we got is Benfica against Leverkusen. Honestly, both of these teams have been pretty shit this season, but Benfica in the Champions League have been surprisingly poor. Still haven't gotten a win or a draw from the first 3 matches, and currently they sit in 35th place. But similarly, Bayer Leverkusen don't sit that much ahead of them, and even though they have been getting a little bit better results recently, they're still conceding so many goals, and even in the Champions League, in their first 3 matches, they've conceded 10 goals already. With that being said, I can see this being a very high scoring game, but with the home advantage, I'm actually gonna back Benfica to get their first win so far in this league phase, as I do think they will beat Leverkusen 3-2. The next game we got is Club Brugge against Barcelona. Barcelona haven't looked like the best team so far this season. We did see them lose against PSG. They lost recently in the El Clasico against Real Madrid. And they also lost that game in the La Liga 4-1 against Sevilla. So clearly defensively, they have a lot of struggles. Their center backs don't look like they have the best cohesion and chemistry with each other, and there is still a lot of problems with that high line that they play, and that's why we've seen multiple teams already exploit them this season. But against Club Brugge, I can see them winning this game. I'm gonna predict Barcelona to win 3-1. The next game we got is Inter Milan against Kairat Almaty. I'm sorry, Kairat Almaty, but we saw what Real Madrid did to you. It's going to be another one of those. Inter Milan have the home advantage. They currently sit 3rd place in the league phase, and after 3 matches, their goal difference is 9. They've scored 9 goals, and they still haven't conceded a single goal yet. Against Kairat Almaty with the home advantage, it's going to be 4-0. The next game we got is Man City against Borussia Dortmund. This is actually a very interesting game because I think that Borussia Dortmund have the capabilities, they have the squad to upset Man City. And with Man City's inconsistencies this season, where yes, we've seen them perform very well in some games, but on the occasion, they do pick up a loss here and there. So I'm not putting it past Borussia Dortmund to be able to upset Man City. But with that being said, Man City do have the home advantage. They have gotten a lot of players back from injury. Haaland is on incredible form. He is scoring in every single game he plays, and I do think he will score against his former club. I'm going to predict Man City to win this game 2-1. The next game we got is Marseille against Atalanta. Marseille have been arguably one of the most entertaining teams so far this season, and there was even a point where they were 1st in the Ligue 1, and they're scoring so many goals. They're scoring like 3-4 goals in every single game they play, and with the home advantage, they are definitely a top 10 team in Europe. I do think they will put up a fight, but I'm going to say Marseille win this game 3-2. And finally, the last game is Newcastle against Athletic Club. Newcastle have not been good so far in the Premier League, but for some reason in the Champions League, they look like a much stronger team. And obviously, playing at St. James's Park, we all know how strong they are when they play at home. And in this game, they have the home advantage against Athletic Club. I think they will definitely win this game. Athletic Club have been struggling. They've been struggling in the La Liga and in the Champions League. They've also been struggling. We saw them lose 4-1 against Dortmund. And now in the last match day, they did beat Karabakh 3-1. But I don't think they're going to be able to beat Newcastle. With the home advantage, I think Newcastle will keep a clean sheet and beat Athletic Club 2-0. And that is the end of this video. Those were my predictions for the 4th match day in the UCL League phase. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree with my predictions, remember to leave your predictions down below, and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. If you guys have been enjoying these videos, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.